So the writing team for the 11th series of Doctor Who was recently announced. As we all know, Chris Chibnall got rid of pretty much anyone that had any involvement with the show in the past, except himself of course. The question I, and frankly many other people have, is whether or not these writers were hired for their ability to create good science fiction, or were merely hired because they fit into the BBC quota list. Again, to get one thing clear, I don't care what your gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation is. What I care about is, are you qualified to do your job? Do you have enough experience? Are you going to give me good stories, or are you simply there to push a narrative? Since this is Doctor Who in 2018, I'm less than optimistic about how these writers are going to work out, and I'm concerned about the possible direction their writing might take. I'm not so much concerned about the new directors that were announced at the same time. Directors are primarily responsible for bringing scripts to life. They don't have much to do with the actual narrative direction of the series. I'm not concerned about the visual look for Series 11. From an aesthetic point of view, what we've seen looks great, but aesthetics are not really what makes Doctor Who. For instance, the classic series could hardly compete visually with Star Wars or Star Trek. It didn't have the budget. We're used to wobbly sets and often questionable directorial decisions. These factors never stopped us from enjoying the show. Series 1 from 2005 is probably the cheapest looking series, due largely to the fact that you could tell it was shot using Sony Betacam, which was the BBC standard at the time, as it was until the end of Series 4. And yet, Series 1 is now probably my favorite series of New Who. Side note, the reason Series 2 through 4 look better appears to be that the production team had started using better color grading techniques to diminish the Betacam look. In summation, I don't really care what the series looks like, as long as it doesn't look terrible. What I want, as I said, are good stories, devoid of agendas and ideology, written by people with proper qualifications and background knowledge of the show and science fiction in general. Now let's take a look at Chibnall's 5 choices. Chibnall himself is writing the remainder of the episodes, and if you want to see how much faith I have in him as showrunner, just check out my other videos. First, let's get those 2 pesky white dudes out of the way. We don't have much to go on, given the brief biographies, but with the help of IMDb and some basic research, we can get a good idea of where these writers are coming from. First, we have Ed Heim. According to IMDb, he has only written 2 episodes of Skins, and according to his bio, the only other thing he's done of note is a radio play. He says, quote, "Writing for this series comes down to the adventure really, and telling emotionally engaging stories to bring everyone along with you. Sorry, but this writer does not have the experience to be writing for a show with the stature of Doctor Who. For all we know, his episode could be brilliant, but I would prefer a more tested writer. Also, I hope he means emotionally engaging in a way that doesn't imply emotionally charged ideology." The most qualified writer is Pete Mctighe, who has an extensive writing history and is the only one of the 5 that, at least on paper, seems to fit the role. His being the best option on paper has nothing to do with him being a white male, it has to do with experience. Unfortunately, this doesn't guarantee that his writing on Series 11 won't be filled with agenda pushing. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's the next 3 writers that give me the most cause for concern. Mallory Blackman has written a number of children's books, which appear to have done well, so at least she's proven herself in the private market. But other than noting that she's been a fan of Doctor Who, she doesn't seem to have much experience in that area. What alarms me, though, is how Blackman has described her episode as reported by Digital Spy. Apparently, her episode will be heartfelt, thought-provoking, and timely. There's nothing wrong with heartfelt and thought-provoking, but it's the term timely that sets off alarm bells. What sort of timely will this be? Unfortunately, I think we all know what this means. Next we have Vinay Patel. The only thing of note on his IMDb is a television movie, which was nominated for a few awards. Which, to be honest, doesn't mean much these days, as all award shows seem fundamentally agenda-driven. And a single episode of a show called The Good Karma Hospital. Other than that, he's done some shorts. Again, not experienced enough. But going back to the Digital Spy article, Patel calls his episode, quote, "educational, epic, and emotional." The word educational says it all. Again, I'm pretty sure we all know what this means. Then we have Joy Wilkinson. She's written single episodes of a few shows, but I wonder if there's any ideology present here. Let's do a Google search. Wait, what's this? Why women need the hairy, witty, subversive she-devils of feminist literature more than ever. Written by a Joy Wilkinson. Oh dear. Well, I guess we know why she got the gig. So in conclusion, I'm not overly impressed with these choices. Every time a piece of news comes out, things look worse for Series 11. And that's it for today. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, as I've recently brought my account back from the dead, and stay tuned for a major announcement about the future direction of this channel, which I'll be making shortly. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day.